Welcome to Anime Recall. Today, I will explain a 2015 anime series called Arifureta, From Commonplace to World's Strongest. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The story begins as a high schooler, Hajime Nagumo, and his classmates are summoned to a magical world where various species exist and fight for survival, or perhaps drag for race superiority. During the fight against monsters, Hajime does not survive the circumstances surrounding the gruesome attack and is left behind by his mates in the dark abyss. Hajime almost gives up on his life as the pain becomes too much for him to bear, but having decided not to die just yet, he strives hard to get out of the labyrinth, but comes across a mythical girl locked up as her people betrayed her. Feeling sympathy, he rescues her and learns of a little history about her vampire race. Determined to follow Hajime and never go back to her former life, she requests for a new name. Thus, he names her Yui. Both of them embark to overcome other attacks and advance to the other labyrinth created by the ancient magic users as protection from failed attempts at defeating the god. Yui feeds on Hajime's blood as her food and strength as they fight off the obstacles in their way. Afterwards, she seduces him and gets to be alone with him for a long while. After several days, the duo prepare to conquer the last obstacle. The attack against this particular demon is quite a big blow, as it actually takes a lot for them to defeat. At a point, Yui is brainwashed and is snapped out of it when Hajime kisses her. He also loses consciousness at a point and hears Yui's cries during his unconscious state. Her cries push him to kill the demon finally, and when they successfully make it out, he passes out from exhaustion. Meanwhile, at the kingdom, the student teachers fight for their behalf, pleading the Pope not to allow them in the labyrinth to avoid the loss of another student, just like Hajime. The last fight was indeed a major blow to Hajime as he lost an eye. He wakes up on a bed with Yui days later and learns the truth about the structure of the labyrinth. For over 2 months, he and Yui remain underground, learning ways on how to defeat ancient magic, creating fascinating tools and equipping themselves physically and fit. Having done all these, he decides it is time for them to leave and return back to the surface. Meanwhile, a rabbit girl awaits their arrival as she has seen the future of them helping her already. After persisting and soliciting for their help towards her people, they agree to help after laying their own conditions in exchange. Hajime helps to train her people, while Yui trains the rabbit girl to make them stronger. Hajime decides his time is up so he could continue his journey, but the rabbit girl gets to follow them after begging. Their next destination is the Risen Gorge, which is the entrance to another labyrinth. They face a robot-sized maverick, which becomes an entirely difficult enemy to take down. After a lengthy battle, they succeed in knocking her down and are awarded a ring and an ancient gravity magic, granting them their reward for overcoming her. She expels them out of the labyrinth onto the outside. Hajime, Yui, and the rabbit girl later lodge into a hotel room. The Adventurers Guild requests that Hajime should help to rescue their missing adventurers, most importantly, a noble son who is amongst them. Before embarking on the search, they stop by a restaurant where Hajime meets his teacher and her students. She is so surprised and shocked to see that he's still very much alive. The next day, the teacher stubbornly insists she and her students must follow him in search of the missing adventurers to gain more knowledge on the liberators. They eventually find the noble son and learn he is the only survivor of the attack on the mountains. The adventurer explains how his companions all died under the attack of monsters and a black dragon and regrets being the only one to survive such a gruesome battle. The Dragonborn is later captured, while it confesses it was being controlled by someone to attack the adventurers that came. Yui confirms the dragon is speaking nothing but the truth. After Hajime tortures the dragon, it transforms into a beautiful woman. The Dragonborn has revealed that the person who controlled her is launching an attack in the next village. With insistent convincing from his teacher to save the village, he and his team swing into action to save them. They defeat the League of Demons and Monsters, realizing it was one of their students that has been the mastermind of it all these while. Hajime kills him after he launches an attack on their teacher. They all return to the city and have a peaceful break. Hajime and the rabbit girl go together on a date and free a mermaid child who was kidnapped by child traffickers. When he returns her to the city guards, she is recaptured again. This angers him greatly as he smokes out all of their illicit underground businesses, killing all of them in the process and taking Mew, the mermaid child, with him. The child becomes very comfortable with him and starts addressing him as Papa. They return to the city where they are summoned, and while they are there, a panicked classmate runs out and pleads for assistance as they are all trapped in the labyrinth and are attacked by a powerful female demon. As usual, Hajime is not moved to interfere, but after pleadings upon pleadings, he agrees to assist them. When he arrives, his classmates are all shocked he is still alive, and his new transformation is very much shocking to the bone. He defeats the demon and reunites with his classmates. Kaori, his female classmate that was always worried about him, insists she must follow him to his journey. This increases the companions tagging along with him, and among all this, he is determined to return to the surface with all of them no matter what. Hajime's group now advances for another journey and stumble upon a noble after defeating sandworms. The noble narrates the awful condition of his people, and as usual, Hajime becomes the hero of the day, rescuing the people and uprooting the root, causing their problem. The general of the demon army is furious on learning of the female demon's death and swears to avenge her death. Hajime and his team arrive at the volcano where they can find the aid to help the villagers. However, they get ambushed by the demon army general, who launches a severe attack on Hajime. The girls are aggravated by the surprise attack and are determined to kill the enemy for knocking Hajime out, while they protect the latter simultaneously. Although the enemy has wounded Hajime badly and now has the edge over them, he still slacks to finish them well. And so, he encloses the volcano mouth so they could die inside the eruption. They escape through one of Hajime's technological innovations. At the palace, the princess learns that Hajime has been branded as a threat to the church and a heretic. The student who attempted murder on Hajime initially teams up with a mystery person as they plot evil behind the scenes. The team regroups and arrives at the Sea of Merfolk and reunites with Miu and her birth mother. At the palace, the teacher relays her fear about Hajime being branded as a heretic by the church to her most trusted student. She also makes her fear known of how the king and the subjects have been behaving out of character, and for this, none of them can trust the church since their true objective is unknown. The group advances to the underwater ruins of Melazine, which is the fourth labyrinth. As is the custom of getting through a labyrinth, they overcome a monster. This one is quite the big construction as it splits up the group. Hajime and Kaori end up being together, and the latter get reprimanded by Hajime for always comparing herself to his lover, Yui. Back at the kingdom, the teacher is kidnapped by an unknown nun, while the princess watches this from her hiding place. While Hajime and Kaori explore the current labyrinth, they are in a trance, watching the scene of how a past war between races broke out. After breaking out of the trance, a spirit possesses her, but Hajime is quick to detect the difference and succeeds in driving the spirit out. Kaori confesses her love to him again, fully aware that Yui is the only person he loves dearly. The previous water monster re-attacks again, and during the course of fighting it, Hajime gets help from the newly acquainted fish monster. While his students are worried about their teacher's sudden disappearance, Hajime and the girls spend some time in Miu's village. He is very reluctant to leave her behind, but surprisingly, Miu understands he has to leave eventually. Hajime promises to come back for her as soon as all of this is resolved, so he would take her back to his own world. The princess flees from the castle as she witnesses the current happenings in the kingdom's castle. Feeling for help, she runs into Hajime and the girls. More so, the captain of the students gets attacked severely. Although he escapes from the attack, he is killed by an apostle. Hajime and his crew reunite with the princess at the palace as she reveals the teacher was kidnapped at the Divine Mountain, the fifth labyrinth. Hajime advances to rescue her from the hostage, but gets disrupted when the female apostle launches an attack on them. The enemy relays why she must kill him, stating that it is a mandate from her god. Hajime quickly calls for help so that the teacher can be taken from him so he could fight properly. Although she weakens his powers, she eventually kills her after a tough battle. Yui and the rabbit girl succeed in fighting the demon's army commander and his entourage off, while Kaori and the princess run off to find the students. The Dragonborn and the teacher work together by blowing the church and killing the priests inside. When Hajime rejoins them there, they follow the spirit of a liberator who gives them the access to the particular ancient magic of the labyrinth. At the castle, commotion grips the students after learning of the forces advancing to them. Under the instruction of a student, they regroup with the knights, but realize it was too late and that it was a fatal mistake. The female student betrays her classmate and disables all of them. With the help of the knights she controls with her powers. She reveals she has always sided with the demons and used her power of necromancy to command the dead humans at will, explaining her main objective has been to have the hero leader to herself. She had to clear all of them out so she could have him to herself. When she is about to manipulate Kaori with her power, Hajime appears, slaying all the knights and proceeds to kill her. About to kill her, the demon's commander appears, giving an avenue for him to escape with the student's betrayer. Hajime and the rest succeed in retrieving Kaori's soul and putting her soul in the apostle's body. Hajime later has an audience with his classmates. urging them on how they have to fight to return to their world as soon as possible, and in accomplishing the goal, they all surrendered themselves to him, willing to be stronger and better so they can all be fit to fight their way out of this world. For more anime recaps like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. As always, like and comment to help out our channel. Thank you for watching.